It don't really matter. Let's think this shit anyway.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Should I do the typical intro? Or?
You do the intro. Yeah.
Alright.
What is going on, guys?
What's up, YouTube? Sorry, I just had to.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Zulu cast. I am your host, Zulu Laga, and I am accompanied.
From Ohio, we've never done that.
I am accompanied by my boys, my brethren. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Rowan. Yeah.
It's Zulu Mangalisa, aka Max. What's up? What's up?
It's Shane, just Zulu Shane and regular Shane.
Yes, and it's been a minute since we made a pod. So, when do y'all think was what was the last? Was it the Trisha Paytas episode?
Last one I was on was the T-Pab versus the Future album?
Yeah.
The worst one.
Yeah.
And then
I was so shocked y'all hate that one. I love that one so.
I don't think I was on the abortion one.
It's a bad one, no, because I was cooking and y'all were all like, "You're crazy." You're the straw man of my argument.
I never said you were crazy. Let's be clear. I think my argument was very thoughtful and cohesive. Okay. Debater Shane was in his prime. Right?
With everything even going on right now, I stand by that even more. With this Kendrick beef, I stand by DS2 being way better.
Yeah. He's looking. Max is kind of rare right there. You know what I'm saying?
I think our take just aged better. You know?
Nah.
It is aged. So where do you stand on that now? We can talk about that bullshit, bro.
Yeah.
Let's get into that shit, bro.
Where me?
Yeah, where do you stand on the Kendrick shit?
The current stuff or
the current stuff.
Do
you think it's?
I think you guys have talked about a lot this year how you thought it like music got really really bad because of it. I think what I've hated now is in hip hop, all the barred up rappers that I listen to are all making subtle references to it. I know Cordae just put a new song out where he literally says "Oh, I'm gonna spaz on him and go crazier than when Kendrick gets mad." Or I heard a song from a rapper named G Perico was he was I'm about to do these rappers worse than Kendrick and Drake, and I'm like, those bars are corny. I don't want to hear that. But just overall, I haven't really my music, the music that I listen to, typically hasn't been affected by that. So how I feel about the situation, it's corny.
You don't think music in general has gone on a downward path since then? I have the most extreme position on this, but I'm looking at the releases next year. A$AP Rocky, J. Cole, Kendrick supposedly, and even Tyler, and I'm so unexcited. I'm so uninvested and over it.
I don't think any of that got affected by. Excuse me. I don't think any of that got too affected because look at the Big Sean run that just happened. Big Sean just put out an album and it got completely overshadowed by the whole Kendrick Drake beef. But it's that album would have still been what that album was, whether that beef had happened or not, because all these people all still have the idea that they're the best rapper. So they're just gonna do it and invoke it and engage with it no matter what.
Yeah.
I think Tyler's probably in the healthiest space of them all, and even then I still have some worry about him. But I feel that's because he doesn't promote himself to be the best rapper. I feel he just likes rapping, but he likes it as a sport still, not necessarily as the art.
Yeah, but do you think people who are on the direction of doing it competitively feel discouraged?
No.
Or at the very least, if they themselves don't feel discouraged, isn't it more culturally discouraged than it would have been 2 years ago?
I don't. Maybe, but the only reason I would say maybe is because I feel music. But I would say that no matter what, because I feel music recently just hasn't been. This is gonna sound cringe, but I just I feel this way. Music. When I think the SoundCloud era, the 2016, 2018 era, music felt very fun.
Mm-hmm.
It felt. My issue with it back then when I was in my big real hip hop head phase was it felt so thoughtless, it wasn't thought of. But I feel now music is always being seen as this crazy artscape that even someone like Yeat, who started off making music that just sounded very playful and fun and just I'm going into the booth and let it happen, now has become so intellectualized as oh, how artistic can we make a Yeat? Or how artistic can we make a new artist coming out? Even I feel the pressure that it's I have to step back from just rapping in a way that's fun to me, or making music in a way that's fun to me, and I have to do it in this way. Well, how can I have a beat change or a transition? How can I make these melodies stack in certain ways? And not just in the sense of how do I make this fun anymore? It's just what is the quote unquote, and maybe that's just me though. It's I just feel music has become very, it's not done for fun now. It's done with how can I be artistic versus how can I be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't think it's less on like them just like being like who's the best lyricist, who can spit the most?
I think hip hop's always gonna be in that space though, as long as it holds itself to an image. The healthiest artist who's like gonna be in that space is gonna be like Vince Staples, and that's only because he views the business as a business. But when you're like in the space of like I think Vince has probably got the healthiest mindset because he often talks about how he didn't grow up trying to be a rapper. Mm-hmm. But when he got into rap, look at the people he became friends with. Earl, Tyler, Mac, who are all great creative individuals. But like, let's not act like they did not want to be the top of the... That's crazy. Let's not act like they didn't want to be the top of the top, best of the best. Like, that's why Earl's, I think, early music is very...
Don't you think like that attitude going into it was like I want to be the best of the best like is kind of bad in and of itself? Like I think the goal should just be to make just like art that's like authentic.
You should be better than being the best. You should be above that because you're too good for that anyways.
Nah, I think I feel like being that mentality exists in art, or I shouldn't even say in art. I think there's also just like the historical connection that'll always be imposed by the older heads, which is why like it's weird sometimes. I like try to compare like the metal scene to the rap scene. When Rolling Loud and that first started coming out, it was like all the headliners were new guys. But if you look at like a metal festival, all the headliners are always like the bands from the 80s and 90s and 70s. The OGs still have the highest title, and you see how dictated those scenes are. Hip-hop is now only dictating itself by like the culture. So like the fact that these artists get big and they have this framework of you're a rapper on them limits them, which is why like Igor is probably Tyler's best record.
I would agree. It's the best Tyler record.
I agree. Yeah.
And it's not even. Wait. To be fair, that's not my favorite.
But I think like that album is so good because like in his earlier stuff, I feel like it's him just trying to. He's almost like trying to emulate Eminem in certain ways, where they're trying to say like edgy shit. And I feel like at least with Igor, he's at his like most like artistic and not trying to qualify himself as much.
But I feel like Igor only comes out that way because it's still Igor.
Yeah, like nah. He's
but not. Real quick, because I do want to hear your thoughts. Igor still has the blankfulness of being competitive, because Igor doesn't feel like Igor probably isn't his best record. Igor probably isn't his best record because it's like it's like cringily rebellious. Oh, I don't want to rap anymore. Y'all want to view me as just a rapper. I can be an artist. It's that. That's probably the downfall of Igor. Whereas, like, the early work, as cringy as you can say it is, like, when Tyler's talking about, like, the craziest thing you've ever thought of, at least he's having fun. You can say it's bad art, but you can't say, like, it's not art nonetheless. Like, he's having
really
fun.
It's really bad. Bastard is so bad.
It is bad.
Bastard's like the worst thing I've ever
Bastard's really bad. Yeah. Goblin and Wolf are good, though.
Not good.
No,
not
they're good.
There's a couple moments. There's a couple moments. Like Goblin, I like is it with Frank Ocean?
Yeah.
Like there's some good moments there.
You think they're good projects?
Wolf's
good.
Answer is a good moment. But majority 90%.
No, I Have Hate You with
bad.
Pharrell is like a beautiful song.
Yeah, nice.
I was just talking about this with my brother on the way here. I was like, I think there's more Tyler, the Creator albums I dislike than I like, but the ones that I like, I really, really like. But his earlier stuff to me is just so, I can't get through it. And I've tried. I just don't see the appeal in it. Like, there's certain songs, for sure, but, like, overall, I just do not.
I gotta ask you, because I feel like you had a real hip-hop phase at some point. Was there ever a time where you heard, like, Tyler or early Tyler and stuff like that, and you was like, oh, this guy can rap, bro? Or not?
He was, like, the transition for me out of real hip-hop.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, man, he actually cares about music, and he's misunderstood. And I had that sort of concept. And I feel like there's always, like, iterations of artists where people try to emulate to a degree that it strives them away from themselves. And I think Odd Future was that for their era, when everyone was trying to talk like Tyler the Creator because that was the cool thing. And they had like Tyler the Creator, and they fucking like used his phrases and shit. Mm-hmm. You know, dude, one thing that they do is like the fake excitement thing, where they're like, that is so badass. Like, skating is so fucking dope. It's so dope. Like the fucking like performative shit. I think for a time, no offense, my brother, for a time, I think Blade was that. where people were emulating the fuck out of
for sure, yeah. There's so many people.
Basing their entire personalities around that shit.
100%,
I don't know who, like, maybe Kendrick will become that. I feel like Kendrick.
Do you think Cardi was that for a minute?
I was gonna bring up
Cardi
Cardi,
for real
yeah.
felt like that for a minute. I feel like still. I feel like I hear a lot of kids like the in betweens of like Yeet, King Carson, and Playboy Cardi. I can name like off the top of my head like 6 copycats.
Yeah.
Or like trying to do that.
Yeah. Anyway, so I went and I found the last episode of the Zulu cast. Y'all wanna guess like the date of the last Zulu cast?
Probably 2022, right?
I was gonna say
2022.
2022. What month we thinking? What month?
May.
I wasn't in
June.
it.
May? Later?
April.
No.
Later?
It was
March?
July. It was July
okay.
12th,
Okay.
2022. So a lot has changed since then.
What was it, real
Wow.
quick? Can you tell what the episode name was?
It was the Trisha Paytas
Oh, okay.
episode.
That was the one we ended on? That's like a wild one to end on. I
Bro,
feel
it was
like.
supposed to be your baby, I
Yeah,
thought.
bro.
Like, weren't you supposed to be running it?
What, the Trisha Paytas one?
No,
No, the
the
cast.
whole Zulu podcast. Like, you're like, here's your thing.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
No. You guys are right on that. You guys are right on that.
Let's talk about that. What do you think it was? Like, because this dude was like super excited about doing the podcast, and he was like, "This is gonna be my baby.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the TikToks for it. I'm gonna show up to every episode." Wasn't on like the 3rd episode. You know what I'm saying?
You know.
It's
It's,
fucking
I think
wrong.
it's just that INFP shit where it's like a project seems like super exciting at first, and then it wanes
Can't
over
relate.
time, and then you end up like not sticking with it.
Yeah.
Plus, I think I like just wanted something probably at the time. If I think back to my mind state at the time, to distract me. So yeah, that's probably why I would say.
Yeah.
So just some INFP shit, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we were like filling a void of like just regular degular
Mhm.
intuitive dialogue.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the podcasts that have intuitive dialogue,
Mhm.
it's like, it's fucking debate shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like fucking like reacting to other people type
Mhm.
shit, which I can rant about that, bro. So I was on the phone.
Mhm.
Y'all don't know him. Our boy Nihilist John. I was on the phone with him, and I was talking about like, you know, when someone has a sense of self by their ability to begin to give their opinion on something without being prompted. And what I mean by that is like the intuitive podcasts are like an example of that, where it's like, although I think there's a lot of smart, intuitive people
Mhm.
making content, it's always reacting content. And if it's not reacting to like just media, it's reacting to news
Mhm.
or reacting to other people's ideas. But the
Mhm.
more that you come into yourself, I feel like you can just rant unprompted. Like your ideas are fleshed out and then you just go. So I think
Yeah.
that's the void that we were filling. It's just like people talking,
Yeah.
discussing, like the
Mhm.
FI shit of like, oh, you do that thing, I do that too. Like that sort of thing was missing. There's a lot of censors that do that shit. There's a lot of censors like, you listen to music while you clean the house, bitch. Like that sort of shit. There's not a lot of that intuitive content. So we were fucking like, we were them for it.
Yeah, trying to. Okay, yeah, I see what you're
Yeah.
saying on that. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like it had a lot of potential, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think where it could have been at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all your fault.
Nah.
Hey, you know what?
I distinctly remember times where I would show up and they'd be like, "We're waiting on Max, man." So
I think I also like the habits one is too crazy to me too. The how looking back on like my habits, how I like fell off on every one of them because I was so neurotic at the time. So like, that was just a neurotic time for me.
That's the
Not
thing.
to defend it, because I mean, like I genuinely feel like since I like put my word on like being like, okay, I want to do the Zulu cast like consistently, like that definitely falls on me too. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, because Shane has done that on his podcast. Like, I'm gonna start this habit,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna carry it out, and I've probably done that on my old podcast too, where I like declare like from here on out, I'm gonna do da da da.
Mhm.
So I just feel I have this intuition that making proclamations is probably like
It's-
not the thing to do.
Yeah, it can be like self-sabotaging, I feel like. in a
Yeah.
way, yeah.
I'm gonna do da, da. Like with fucking with the synchronicity thing. I wish, which is my next album, I wish I would have just not told anybody until all
Mhm.
of it was done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like it's all done, like the demos are done.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would feel that much more powerful.
Just to
and-
be like, here it is.
Yeah, and then like if nobody knew about it, I wouldn't have that thing where I'm thinking about it from like this sort of like how would the market perceive it perspective
Yeah.
as I'm making the music. But cool, I wanted to bring that up so that we could all talk about how our lives have changed since that beautiful day. Who wants to go first?
Since July, 10, 2022?
July 12, 2022.
What are you gonna be, bro?
Oh, I don't know who's gonna
You
start.
should actually probably go first. I feel like you made
let's go on
the
the
most
line.
noticeable progress, at least in my mind.
I would say like codependency is like number one thing that I've tried to fix the last like year or two. Just staying single, and then just even like with friendships too. Just like because I tend to be introverted, so I'm trying to just use that to my advantage a little bit now and use that time to serve me a little better. And so like actually just being able to sit with myself and not like feel the need to hang out with friends or do things to, I guess, fill that void that aren't exactly helpful to me has been like, I don't know. I feel like that's made the biggest difference. And I think staying single, at least for me, was like the best thing I could have done. Even though it hurt at first, I think that was the best thing I could have done. Because now I'm on the opposite end where I feel like it's hard for me to like, if I'm interested in somebody, connect with them. So I'm trying to find the balance in between like, what is the word, interdependence, or independence, whatever, and codependency. Try to find that balance. But that's been like the number one thing that I've tried to work on.
Do you prefer this struggle to the old one?
Yeah, because at least then I can like the things that I loop on like as an INFP, at least I can, instead of like going out to fill that void, sitting with it and looping on it can be helpful in some instances. Now, looping on it too much is not, but like just being able to identify the problem and sitting with it is a lot better than just going out and like doing things just for like the experience or whatever. But yeah, I would say that this struggle to me is better than the codependency for sure. I feel a lot more like calm and at peace.
Yeah. What I find cool about what you're doing is like you're avoiding the temptation to look for supply, which is a problem that I've fallen into, where I've gotten out of codependence, and then I'm like supply dependent, where I'm so used to being in something romantic with someone that I want to be always talking to someone, and then I'll rationalize that someone is better for me than they are, and I'll just stay in that and just fuck around. And then it ends up being this thing where I kind of know it's going nowhere, and then I'm delaying the process of the inevitable crash, and that feels like impending doom. So that sucks. So, but do you think it's a matter of strength that you're able not to do that? Do you think it's a matter of like you simply don't even have the temptation to go talk to someone that way right now?
No, the temptation's there. It's just it doesn't like take over me as much as it used to before. And I think I don't know if it's because I hadn't experienced like what it was like to really be in a relationship or whatever. I forgot the quote. I'm sorry, but yeah. I just find it a lot more like serving to be just on my own.
Yeah, it's not overbearing anymore.
Yeah. Because at first it sucked. Like it was not good. But once you get out of the habit of like feeling like you need some sort of like external validation or just being around people for like stimulation, I feel like things get way better. To the point now where it's not something that like is on my mind and I'm like searching for like before.
Do you ever get that sense of like being in your 20s and feeling like this is the time to be in a relationship?
Well, yeah, it's interesting you say it because like when people will ask me like, oh, why aren't you talking to somebody, and then I tell them that I'm not, their reaction is very much like, well, you're missing out on like what like is your time to be talking to people in your 20s, and the longer you wait, the harder it will be to find somebody. Like I've gotten that a lot from people. Or it's like the opposite where they're like, you're too picky, like your standards are too high. So I guess trying to find that balance,
Is it though? Like I don't want to, you guys were talking about like the toxic like men podcast, and I don't mean it in this direction, like you got to be the most fucking like ripped man. But if you're like in your 30s and in your 40s, I feel like the more people get older, the more people get demoralized. And if you are not demoralized, that gives you an advantage in the dating market. Like how many men are in their 40s and like not weird, you know what I'm saying? Like not depressed, like not some shit like that. So if you're in your 40s and you're healthy and your brain is clear and you're just like happy to be alive, I feel like it wouldn't be overly difficult to find somebody to be with. But I'm saying that logically because emotionally I feel that way.
Mhm.
Like I feel the daydreams of being with someone.
Yeah.
You know, and like
Yeah.
just wanting that to be now. And there's been times where it didn't happen because I wasn't ready to like accept the gift.
Yeah.
So I do believe that like it'll happen when it'll happen. But then there's another part of me that's like I need to make it happen because what if the girl who's supposed to be the one in my 20s fucking goes by?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could just be me like fucking bullshitting. I don't know.
Yeah.
But cool.
What?
So,
My turn.
mm.
Just like a whole bunch of just backsliding, screwing up. Like I feel more emotional now than I think I ever did before.
Mhm.
Which part of me feels is good. Part of me doesn't like it because I think a lot of my emotions are negative a lot of the time. But yeah, just very neurotic, I guess. I feel like I use that word a lot, and then I heard you use it a lot. I heard you use it a lot, and now I use it a lot to the point where it's like my other friends, when I say it to them, they're very bothered by how much, but I'm like, I just feel like it's the most accurate description a lot of the time
Yeah.
of how I feel. Is just neurotic. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Dude, no, that's really it. It's just neurotic.
I hate that shit, by the way, because it's like you should be focusing on what is the most effective thing to focus on. That is like what is the most novel. So if I need to focus on not being neurotic,
Yeah.
in my brain, my inner dialogue is gonna fucking say neurotic. And when
yeah.
I speak and someone's like, "What's going on?" I'm gonna be like neurotic.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
what it is. I'm not gonna like try to reframe it to make it sound fresh and new, because then it's like it what would it be like? Just belittles my problems, you know.
True, yeah. I feel like, and that's not what it is when I express it to people. I feel like the one person told me, they're like, "Can you stop saying that word?" Because it reminded them too much of the word erotic, and they're like, "I just don't want to hear it, you, especially you, because I say it so much." And I was like, I don't know, it's just like I get that it bothers you because it reminds you of another word or whatever, and I also feel like it bothers him because I actually do say it so much, but I like, not that it's like a good thing to perfectly, I guess, encompass what I'm feeling, but it's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that's really it. Just neurotic. I actually have grown to like love that word partially.
I love it. Yeah,
It's
a perfect
dude.
word.
It's
I love
it's
it.
yeah.
I use it all the time.
Do you, okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
I know. I've had the same thought, but I don't talk to many people, so I haven't been able to say it like that. Yeah.
That's the other thing is
But-
I've realized I talk to way too many people.
It's the perfect word for describing like negativity.
Negativity,
it's
dude,
a
for
perfect,
real.
It's the state of neurosis. Like,
Yeah.
It's the perfect. It's a great word. I mean, you could say like negativity, but I think
It
Iraq
doesn't-
just has more.
I
But
think
I think
it-
it's more of descriptor.
I
of
think
it.
especially when you feel it. Like,
yeah.
I've been in negative headspaces, but I
Yeah.
know that there's been times where I'm like not just depressed, not just like anxious,
Yeah.
where I'm like on an edge that I like.
Yeah.
It just knows there, where I'm like teetering a line, and I'm like, this is pure
Yeah.
neurosis.
We need more words. I mean, Greek, like, there's like a bunch of words for love and everything.
Exactly.
Like, so, you know what I mean?
They got A for love. I need more words for
Yeah.
the state of neurosis.
Yeah.
It's a feeling of like making it weird, neurotic. That's what it feels like socially when you're neurotic.
Yeah.
And you're the one fucking making it weird. You're like,
Yeah.
man, if I just wasn't in this headspace, this conversation would be going so much better.
Yeah.
That's the part that'd be sucking.
That's really true.
Yeah. What do you mean backsliding though?
I guess backsliding is kind of a religious word, though.
Kind of Christian.
Yeah. I was
Is
gonna
it?
ask,
Okay.
y'all have the.
No. There's a quote from a guy named Charles Spurgeon, who's a Baptist pastor from like the 1700s, and he has a quote where it's like backsliding starts with dirty Bibles, and so it's just like just actively going back and just sinning a lot. So I find myself often in this tug and pull of like, I thought about it today, while driving down here. The story where Jesus is like in the wilderness being tempted by Satan.
Yeah.
And like Satan like offers him everything he he's like, you could be the ruler of the world, you could be this and da 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 da. And I was thinking today, I hear so many of my like other Christian friends be like, oh, I'm so glad that I can't imagine where I would be without Christ, because I would be still addicted to this, or I'd be to this, and it's like, oh, thank God I'm not that. And I'm like, bro, I know when I'm not with like God, I feel like I have everything that my like flesh truly desires. So like everyone always says it like, oh, thank I'm not with this, and I'm like, part of me is like, oh, I know in my soul I don't want this, because I want everything that's desirable and offered to me. And it's like I keep going in this circle because part of me wants it, but I always keep coming back to God because I know it's not as good.
Yeah.
And so just that. Sorry, to make a long thing short, yeah. Backsliding. Backsliding is just like, it's when you slide away from God back into your sin. So yeah, just that a lot. I think part of me wants to. I don't like rejection, and I like being a part of things, and I like being a part of communities that feel accepting, and I don't feel good typically a lot of times when I'm just me. So like I'll do things like drink and party and hang out with people that I know I shouldn't be hanging out with to fill holes for all those things.
Yeah, I wonder what it is with you that you just don't, because there's something that you're just not like liking about yourself, obviously, that you need to like exhort to these things. So it's, I talk about this in like a newest video I made. But yeah, it's kind of realizing like the reason why I was backsliding is because I'm trying to like make up for something, and there's just something with myself I just didn't like. I couldn't just look at myself and just like love myself and accept like mistakes I've made and accept that I'm just learning right now, and not get unreasonably mad at myself for doing the best decisions I knew how to make in the past, kind of thing. So it's kind of just coming to terms with like that like love for yourself, and then you don't need to compensate with like the other worldly things, kind of thing. So there's something not like whole in you gotta come to. I'm just entering this era now. Like something whole is not quite inside me to not have to go to these other things. And then therefore, I think like the same way that Christ shows love to me, I need to show that Christ-like love to myself. And like the same way you show Christ-like love to people, like your people, like your people. So like, so the same way that Christ just like, show Christ-like love to yourself with Christ. So that's the foundation, and that's how kind of like yourself. I've been trying to balance this because I don't want to like, I don't want to idolize myself too. No, that's a big concern.
I think there's like but I think that's like what love is supposed to do, and this is what I've been thinking about recently. I always say this. One of my favorite Bible verses is like Romans 5:8, where it says, "While we were sinners, Christ died for us." And I'm like, He loved me enough that in my lowest and worst of state, He saw me worth dying for. How come it's so easy for Him to see me like that, and I can't see myself like that? When we're talking about me, and at the same time, I think invoking that love and acting on that love, like one of my favorite Christian rappers, he has a quote where he says, "Want my ego below zero," which is like a really corny line, but it just sits in with my brain so much that I'm just like, I thought about it today. How do I decrease so much in humility, like not in a sense of value, but in a sense of pride, that I just like God is like truly driving me. So yeah, like and I think that starts with just loving myself and accepting myself, because until I do, like, pride's gonna pop up somewhere to try and compensate for the lack of it somewhere else.
Interesting. I guess just trying to figure out like where that comes from. But no, the same way that Christ sees you, see yourself in that way, and it's the most like loving way you can see yourself.
I think that's also scary though. I think this. Oh, dude, I've been thinking about this last week. Sorry, I know we gotta go down the line, but I just really have been thinking about this. Like, so you had talked about like when people come up to you and talk about relationships, and then you're just like, oh, I'm not like really just going after it right now. I can't imagine myself saying that, because I would feel like it would be socially cringe, and it scares me to not be socially accepted. But I feel like there's got to be not necessarily a good feeling, but just a goodness in being like, I don't care. Like if I'm cringe or not. Like I thought about it in relation to all these kids that there used to be this girl in my high school that got made fun of like crazy for just like not being socially in tune. And looking back now, I'm like, that was probably the most authentic person in our school. And y'all just belittled her because y'all couldn't be real. And I'm just like, that's so like, not that like all my fakeness is based within social programming, but it's like I would be so scared to be honest all the time. Yeah. I thought about it. I was like, oh, I'm feeling something right now, and I want to say this to this person, but I shouldn't say it because they would be weirded out. They'd be freaked out. And there is times where it's like I need to learn to hold my tongue. But I'm like, dude, I know I would just feel better if I just didn't care about being cringe. Like, if I was cringe to everyone. Julian said the thing one time where he's like, I think it was either Julian or Owen. He was like, people don't, like, wear merch for, like, Starbucks. But if they have, like, a favorite coffee shop or something like that, they wear it. Mm-hmm. And it's because, like, when something is so good, you're either going to be like, or when something's just so, like, like, when something's just so that thing, people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it. And there's, like, that's it. Yeah. And I'm just, like, I'm so scared of, like, being hated.
Yeah.
So.
For sure.
Yeah. I noticed that women is, when you do just assume it,
mm-hmm.
that women tend to like that, but then men are low-key frustrated from what I perceive. They'll just be like, this guy's lame, right? This guy's fucking cringe, right? And then, you know, they're like, I kind of like him. Like, I don't know, he's him. I think he's cool. And they're like, no, he's a cornball, right? And, like, they're so, like, attached to this image of themselves or the ambition of tying themselves to an image that when someone breaks that programming, they're, like, desperate to control the perspective of the woman and be like, no, he's not attractive. He's not, right? He's fucking cringy,
he's
right?
He's weird, dude.
He's corny, right? But yeah, I mean, like, because I felt this way at City Q. Like, I've been the weird guy at, like, the last few places that I worked at, and I've gotten the baddest bitches at the workplaces, and it's always like, how did he do it? How did he do it? And I'm just chilling. Like, I'm just chilling. And every weird thing, it compiles. Because what I think it is like, people test you the first time they see you doing something weird. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, let me challenge him to see if he'll revert back to being in his box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And if you don't, then it becomes like, that's just who he is. He's that guy. Yeah. He's that type of person. Mm-hmm. And then other people start to just accept it and become, like, enthralled by it and charmed by it. Even censors. Censors, because that's what happened at fucking City Q with the censors. Mm-hmm. They were like, man, Alan's weird, but I love him. I fucking love him. You know?
That's
so got that shit. So yeah.
That's really funny. I can see it too. I definitely can see a censor being like, that Alan guy, he just doesn't make sense sometimes, but I really like the kid, you know?
Yeah. No, I really noticed that, like, especially on the platforms that we'll be on, is because we talk about that shit all the time where it's like, nah, you sound crazy saying blah, 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 blah. They're waiting for, like, they're pointing and being like, this guy's stupid, right?
Yeah.
Like
confirmation.
Right? You sound crazy, dude. Like, the fucking, like, tonality of the voice is like, I'm waiting for the tribe to join in.
Yeah.
Like, you are so stupid, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit, and it comes off as really disingenuous. But yeah, that's tangential.
No, I think that helps because it reminds me of, like, I think a big issue I have in my, like, religious area was I watched so many, like, Christian hip hop artists that I connected to and relate to, and then they had to, like, kind of take on the claim of, like, oh, we can be Christian but not corny. Mm-hmm. Like, we can be cool. And so then I wanted to be that because I wanted to be cool. But what I didn't realize was a lot of them, to their best sense of knowledge, like, limited in their self-image and stuff like that, but to their best sense of knowledge, were just trying to be true to where they came from. And it's like, that's not me. I'm not that. So as much as I tried to save, like, oh, I can be Christian, but I also can be cool, it's like, well, cool people do this. And it's like, Christians don't do this. And it's like, well, I want you guys to like me because I need everyone's approval because I can't do it myself. So I got to be part of the tribe. So then I just succumb. So I think reverting back into the box. And after we get down the line, I have a question for you about it when it comes to, like, codependency and independency of, like, and hearing you talk about the supply dependency and stuff like that, like, I definitely constantly am feeling the thing of, like, one, because I'm codependent, I want someone there, I want someone to fulfill me and make me feel good and care for me. And at the same time, I'm just like, I remember I told somebody, like, a month or two ago, I'm just like, I need to learn to be content with the idea of possibly being forever alone, because I will continue to push that on myself if I don't, like, get comfortable with it. They were like, dude, you're 24. What are you talking about? Like, calm down. Like, you'll figure it out. Life happens. And I'm just like, yeah, but like, what if no one ever likes me because I'm 24 and if I can't get a girl now, then maybe I could never get a girl. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Pure neurosis. We'll go down the line and I'll re-ask you about that.
Yeah.
Cool. So, since July 12th, I had like this 20-year culmination of getting where I wanted to be, independently, my own personal development, my self-esteem, and regulating my emotions, and with the bad bitches, and I got where I wanted to be, and I self-sabotaged it, and then I had to have this like reflection of the shadow, and this reflection, it was a different type of self-esteem battle, because a lot of the self-esteem battles that I've had hasn't been about my ethics. It's been about a sense of inadequacy beyond that. Like, am I creative enough? Am I good looking enough? Am I like a good enough talker? Can I function as an adult or just like a regular human being? And I never experienced it getting to that moral stage, but then I had to face my shadow. And I had to like accept, and this is some Christian idea, I had to accept like there's temptation within me. And I got weak to it. And from there, it was very hard to forgive myself and feel like a good person again. And I didn't want to just like relieve myself after I had not lived up to who I wanted to be. Because then I felt like, you know, I'm nourishing myself, but I wasn't the partner I wanted to be. In other ways, wasn't the friend I wanted to be, because I felt like I wasn't keeping the promises that I had to people, or I wasn't like staying strong as I could have for people. And I don't mean staying strong like not showing emotions. I just mean like staying strong as in like staying composed in the face of temptation. But I failed, and I didn't want to just like relieve myself and then not take responsibility for the people that I let down, you know, because it's like, oh, like it's okay, Alan, the whole time there's like other people that had to face the consequences and that I had been detrimental to around me. So I had this redemption. I did 100 days of no-fap, sucked, fucking terrible to restrain like my lust and have self-control. And that helped alleviate that burden off of me, helped me forgive myself, that I felt like I practiced something to become a better person. And another thing that it did for me is self-help shit. It made me feel like conscientiousness wasn't real. Like, and I've been talking about this a lot, especially with art, like this whole like I don't have motivation shit, because I really didn't want to do 100 days of no-fap. I really didn't want to do it. I didn't want to live at one point, but I just did it anyways. And that brings up the question of like validating your emotions and not. But yeah, I just felt like just fucking keep going, just keep pursuing. And I thought about that moment and then the culmination of a bunch of shit that was like unsatisfactory to me. And it was in this era that I decided like I'm just gonna get on top of everything. Like I'm tired of not being the man ethically that I want to be. I'm tired of like not just like, and I was pretty happy, but I'm tired of like not being able to be happy and not self-sabotage it. Because I got really happy for a decent amount of time, but there was this thing in the back of my head that was like, when am I gonna fuck it up? Or when is it gonna flee away from me? Like, when is this happiness gonna go away? It didn't feel solid. So like, when is happiness gonna feel solid? When am I gonna get paid off of music? All that. And I just decided to go. And I basically had this like, it's gonna be dramatic. I had this like thought, I would actually rather die than like consider facing these problems forever. And I don't mean that as in like, I'm going to avoid these problems. I mean, like, I would rather die than think about, like, 5 years from now, me not being self-employed or me not being the person I want to be ethically. And I'm not sure that it comes from a healthy place because it's very grandiose, but it did give me the leverage to get to a point where I wanted to be. So I started working, like, 17 hours a day, saved hella money, got big in music. I've stayed single. I've had some supply things, still working on that. Stayed single. But like in short, I really got where I wanted to be, and then I fucked it up, and I didn't want to just like let myself off the hook for that. So I did some self-reflection, tried to be accountable, and I felt like I was trying to get to this point where I could forgive myself to be happy again. to where I would allow myself to feel like I could be in a good mood, that I was worth it. And like those thoughts suck because it's always tied to the like it's always tied to how you affect other people, and you don't want to let yourself feel good feeling like you have a propensity to be a negative influence to people. But I got decently through it. I feel like I'm getting back where I was. And I used to have this thing where when I was getting like really down bad, I got kind of manic, and I was like, I'm gonna fix this shit right now. You know what? Tomorrow I'm gonna wake up, I'm completely loving myself. It's fucking done. I'm happy. And then I would do that. I'd get really energetic, and I'd run myself into the dirt. So there's a quote in Levels of Energy by Frederick Dodson, which says that real spirituality is subtle progression over time. I'm trying to just subtly progress over time and stabilize. I still have a fear that like I'll be like good again and fuck it up, but I feel like positive masculinity is like the determination to be a solid ethical force, and like that is running me. Like I feel like I have a lot more focus on being a good person, and I've forgiven myself in the sense that if I would have thought about this then, obviously morality has always been a part of me. So I've been really dealing with my morality. I'm also self-employed now, so life is cool with that. But yeah, shit got cool, fucked it up, worked on it. It's just getting really cool again. It's getting really cool again. Yeah. So that's that.
I was gonna ask about your real quick. You said that a lot of times you hadn't dealt, or do you remember any of the times you feel like you've dealt with like ethical insecurities beyond like the because like hearing you talk about like normal insecurities about like, you know, music and looks and stuff like that, I feel like a lot of my questions relate back to me, so my B, but like for me, I'm just constantly, maybe it's because I'm often backsliding, questioning my ethical insecurity. So was it just like before then not really a thought, or even when you were sabotaging, do you think that you were like neurotic, or not even neurotic, but just like somewhere in your mind being like ethically insecure?
The thing about it is like being a thinker, I feel like I'm like emotionally retarded to some degree. So like I feel like sometimes my morals like catch up to my success, as in like I get somewhere and I'm there, and then I self-sabotage it, and then I realize the reason I self-sabotaged it was my ethics weren't as solid as they needed to be. So with music, I had an ethical insecurity because I was like, I'm telling myself I want to change the world. I really just want everybody to look at me with that shit. Another one is like influence. Like we're fucking like Rowan, moving him out to Colorado. It's like I like don't want to put somebody, like I don't want to have somebody make a fucking like big ass life decision and regret it. So then there's been times where I'm like, is there something to observe within my morality where I'm like comfortable sort of like influencing people or suggesting people to make these life changes when they're the ones that have to deal with their life changes. And I feel like I've gotten better at that. Like I focused on that more. I'm trying to be like less advice giving. It's still like an inkling. It's still like something on me that I'm not where I want to be and I'm working at. But yeah, it's usually like me catching up to it. And like another one is like when I just realized that I'm in like, I would call it like baby narcissism mode, where sometimes I do this at work where I'm like thinking, and maybe you guys all do, maybe this is extroverted intuition thing, but I'm thinking about myself as like, this is my movie and I'm the guy at City Barbecue, and then everything comes through my head like a movie. I'm like, this is the scene where this person, and then I'm like, I'm having a main character syndrome moment too much. Like I'm thinking it's way too about me. Or even insecurity itself is kind of like grandiose in a way. Like who's actually looking at you when you go out in public? Like who actually cares? And that's a double edge, because that could be self-soothing, but it's also like we're selfish as fuck and like super like self-contained to think that when we walk into the mall and there's 200 people walking around, they're looking at us. I felt that last week. I went to the mall and I like I walked certain ways and I was like, oh man, bro, they're seeing me do this shit, man. And then now I'm in my head about it. It's like a downward spiral.
Watching me walk, man.
Yeah, no one cares. Yeah.
Yeah.
I use the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Cool.
Sorry, guys. I get a little bit hungry.
You want to wait for him to do your thing?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. Yeah, I think I can do it.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So since 2 years ago, things have definitely gotten better for sure, but I've definitely been in like a circle of like I gain ground and things are good, but then I lose the ground. Like I fall into temptation, like relapse on like pornography or something. So that was like a cycle for like the past 2 years for something, and I'm starting to realize now something was just like foundationally wrong, but I've also stayed, but something else I kept in my mind. Things were definitely like good. I just kept like gaining ground, losing ground, gaining ground, losing ground. Short was sharpening and then dulling, sharpen, dulling. I just wanted to like have the ground. And so, but something I made sure to like keep, like to do was like good habits and good goals. Like, I've always done something physical, whether it's like jujitsu, gym, or something, like music, goals, like habits, just good habits in general, typical self-help habits. But then I'm kind of realizing now that but I think I went a little bit too far with it, definitely with something like the gym or something, and like personal looks, like just too much on myself. I'm running away. I think I'm scared of my like heathenistic, so like I can't be that guy, I can't be like the loser, I can't be like it can't be in my personality, I can't be the guy who drinks and smokes and do that, you know what I mean? I'm running away from that, or if it's something else I'm running away from. So I try to just be like productive procrastination and stuff. So there's just something about myself that I'm just not realizing that I'm like running away from. But I'm starting to realize that now, pretty recently, and trying to like fix that foundational block. Trying to think what else. But yeah, things are definitely good. My faith, 2 years ago, I was definitely more like lukewarm, we could say, as like Christians, where you're not like fully going in, you kind of like 1 foot with God, 1 foot out, you know what I mean? But things have definitely gotten like stronger with my faith. I feel closer to Jesus more than ever right now, for sure. Yeah, good music has come out. I mixed a lot of really good projects. I made 2 albums since then. So yeah, things are definitely really good. There's just like, I think I'm just always trying to make things better and better, and I have super high expectations of myself, which are really hard to keep up with. I want to be him. I want to be that guy. I want to be the dude with his own place. Like, money's not a problem. He's like really good Christian. He's just that dude. He's the morally ethical dude. Like, everyone thinks he's dope. He's a creative dude. Like, he can do everything. Like, he can do jujitsu. He's a good Christian. Oh, what can he do? Type of thing. I'm trying to think why I have this like image and this like super high expectation. Like, why can't I just exist? Why do I have to be? Why is so much value? Why do I take away so much value away from myself if I don't do these things? Why can't I just exist? Yeah. So yeah, just trying to think about that. But no, things are definitely good. Things definitely have gotten better in 2 years. Lots of healing from like relationship. Lots of healing with myself. And yeah, so yeah, overall better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like you're trying to get leverage on yourself by being like, I can't be this motherfucker.
Yeah. That's like so scary. I can't be the dude. Like, I think something that scares me. I really hope he doesn't see that. I don't know where this is gonna go. I'll just say, one of my brothers, like, he's kind of so like, we have like our one brother, like, he's starting to like be a doctor right now. And then, like, Xavier, he's doing his thing. Like, he's like, I'm doing my thing. But one of our other brothers, like, he's kind of struggling right now, I'll just say. And it's always kind of, like, at our thing, like, with the, at, like, family gatherings. Like, if he's not there, it's always like, man, I'm worried about him. I'm like, like, he's not doing things right. And, like, maybe we're doing things right, which they don't know how we're actually doing. I think my oldest brother, starting to be a doctor, is really struggling right now. But he has the facade of like, he's going to school, he got his own house, but I think he's really struggling right now. But yeah, I guess I'm worried about being like that person, like in the family, like, oh, I don't know if Rowan's doing that well, like, is he gonna get his life together, like that type of narrative. I don't know why I'm so scared of that. Yeah.
Your life is pretty put together right now for like censor standards. The only thing you're not doing is going to school. That's the only
that's
thing
fine.
that
Yeah, that I have no attachment to. That because I'm just like, okay, well, everyone's like 30K plus in debt from school, so that's my thing. I'm just like, I don't want to go in debt. I didn't need school, and I'm just doing my thing. Yeah.
They do it. I feel like because like people in their 20s, it's like this like existential crisis of being an adult, and then people get so skittish and try to do a bunch of shit. So I feel like part of the appeal to college, not that college is negative in every way, part of the appeal is like, for 4 years, I know what I'll be doing.
Yeah.
Type shit. Like my time is booked ahead of me, and then it's feeling productive, even though college itself can be productive procrastination.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Do you still feel tempted, Max, to go to school?
Yes and no, because so there's this one resident at my work. She's like 99. She might be older than that, actually.
Is she hot?
Oh God.
She got a man or what? What's happening with that?
No, she's the reason why she's got the man's the reason she's got all the money. I think he's dead.
Hey.
Oh man,
Rip,
that's funny.
rip to homie.
So sugar mama, that's what you're saying.
Hey, sugar friend.
What you doing with
slide me
that?
some money? I'm not opposed to that. She'll always be like, so you're not going to college? So I was doing drinks the other day.
Is that your impression of her?
She's like, you're not going to college, man. So that's how she says it.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah. I was doing drinks and she's like, or somebody else asked me how long I had been there, and I was like, 4 years. And then I went to her table and she's like, oh, it's been 4 years? I thought it was only 3. And I'm like, no, it's 4. And she's like, you better find a rich girlfriend. And I should have said it. I'm like, I'm not opposed to that, you know.
Yeah.
She tried to talk, right? Money, I don't got a problem.
She tried to talk to you.
Yeah, hey, yeah. But yeah, so like shit like that is when I'll be like, oh, should I be in college? Should I be doing this? But then I'm like, number one, I don't know like what I want to do career-wise, so why waste the money on that? It's just to act like I feel like I'm doing something. I feel like that's like what people see college as, is they're like, oh, well, I'm, furthering my career, but then they don't even end up doing what they like set their major on. Like I know so many people who went to college right after school. They're not doing like jack shit. Like I don't mean to boast, but like shit, I think like I'm making more than that what they're doing, and they went to school and they're in debt.
Your net worth is more because if they're in debt, you have more. You automatically have more money. Yeah, because they're in debt. Yeah. Kill them.
Get rid of them, bro.
They should kill themselves.
Okay.
Video game.
In a video game. Yeah.
Nice, say it's over.
But yeah, no, I'm just like, and plus I think a lot of people go to college just for the experience of it too, being like, oh, I'm going out, I got my friends, I got my dorm. Like I know so many people who made their self-image that, and I'm just like, no.
And I don't fucking get it, because, okay, let's think about the appeal, right? For a fucking young 20s in there, like, like young 20 male in the U.S. I'm gonna go to this college, there's gonna be so many fucking baddies there. I'm gonna do this. Like, what do you think is cooler, bro? Bringing a girl to your dorm, where you got your boy in the same room with you, or bringing a girl to your own fucking place?
Yeah.
Like, what actually fucking feels better, for one? For two, like, where are the higher quality women? And I don't mean this, like, fucking, like, MGTOW, like, the real, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, where are the women that, like, fucking think for themselves, you know what I'm saying? That, like, have a conscience, that have a sense of direction. Yeah. Because if you're going there, like, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna fuck around, you're gonna meet a bunch of women that are also fucking around, and then they're dishonest because they be breaking each other's hearts at, like, the casual shit, and then being dishonest about it. I don't care. Yeah, she's fucking other dudes, but
I don't care.
I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and she don't care that I'm fucking, and like, the whole time she fucking hates it, bro. Yeah. I don't get it. But yeah, we could wrap it by going in the line with the questions. You got a question?
Yeah, I got a question.
Okay, let's go this way. Wrap it, and I'm gonna take my penis out at the end of that episode.
He's gonna whip it out.
Yep.
All right.
Camera's gonna cover it when he does it.
Is there something you guys are being unreasonably hard on yourself for? For example, for me, in my first relationship, I would get upset with myself, maybe in like current day, about mistakes I made in the relationship, but I didn't know what was best at the time. I was just doing the best with my information. Example is my girl in the first relationship, she was kind of neurotic, and so I took and she was just like pretty like apathetic, pretty negative. So I kind of took like, sometimes I would take like a therapy role, kind of, or like a better like, oh, you should be doing this. And the problem was I saw her as like a problem to fix. You know what I mean? Not just like a human, not just like loved her. I made like an idealization about her. Like, no, if you're gonna be if you're my girl, like you can't be like negative. Like you got to be like this, right? You can't just exist. You're a problem that needs to be fixed. That's how I looked at it. And I would get upset at myself like later, like years later, for thinking that. But at the time, that's the best I knew, because it's hard. It's really hard when you're trying to like help someone like that, because you are telling them like objectively like good things to do. I think like we've done that with Max. Like we've told you like good things you could do, like things that we've told you to do. It would be good for you.
Yeah.
But you're not a problem to fix. You're a human being. You know what I mean? Like we should. Like you deserve to just exist, and you don't need to fulfill our wishes or anything. You know what I mean? Even though it would be good for you, but that's not the point. You're a human being. Yeah. You're a human being. That's not the point. So anyways, so is there something like that you're being unreasonably hard, and to recognize that I think is super healthy. To be like, why am I looping on things that literally are not my fault, because at the time I did the best, because so back to that, so like telling you like good stuff, that's what I knew when I was 17. I was like, hey, there's these self-help things that are helping me. They can help you too, girlfriend. Like,
so like in your head you were just trying to help.
I was just doing the best that I knew.
Do you think you're like hard on yourself now about it?
What?
Are you saying like now?
I'm trying.
For a while you were.
I'm here for a while. Now I've healed from it and recently, but I was hard on myself. I'm like, damn, why didn't I? It's so unreasonable if you mad at yourself. I'm like, man, I'm mad at myself for information that I didn't know how to apply at the time. I'm like, what? That's ridiculous. Like, no, I did the best thing I could do. I knew things that helped me, and so I did to her, but I didn't realize that I'm seeing a human being as like a problem to fix, not just a human, if that makes sense. So then so now you guys get the context. So like, are you hard on yourself right now for something that's unreasonable, something that you didn't know the information at the time, you thought it was the best decision, but it wasn't, and I want to help heal from that, I guess. Yeah.
No. But I would say, no, I'm kidding.
He goes, no.
No, bro, that example you gave is so true, because I remember, like, my first relationship, I was, like, seeing her as a problem to fix as well. Yeah. And I was like, you could do this, and you're thinking like this, and you're overthinking it. You're making, and that's fucking, like, the worst thing you can do. Yeah. So, you're overthinking it. You're so fucking nervous. That's what I said, bro. Yep. I was like that with her.
Do trauma release. Like, it'll help you.
It got to a point where, like, later relationships, I'm still cool with most of my exes, and, like, they'll be like, I think back in our relationship, and I realized I did blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I noticed that. I always thought this thing. And they're like, why didn't you tell me? And I think it's like, I just don't want to be like an overbearing figure in those relationships. So I feel you. I think the thing that I'm being too hard on myself for is like not being as like happy as I was like 2021. 2022. Okay. Because it took forever to get there. Yeah. So it's been like 2 years, and now if I'm at an energy level, I'm kind of 200-ish. Yeah. I'm chilling. You know what I'm saying? In a year or two, I'll probably be back at 300, 400. Yeah. And with God's grace, I can get up to 500, and I can be really cool.
Yeah, that's probably tough, because so you know the information, but the time hasn't come yet. So that took a long time. So now you need to experience the gradual change. Like you just have to play the script pretty much. Like keep doing what you're doing, and the time needs to come.
It's hard to play the script when you're a human being too, because I have so many impulses throughout the day. That it's like I have to tie the impulses all together into one united goal. It's also like inauthentic to think that where I am now, trying to get to where I want to be, that I'm going to act like I will act like when I'm where I want to be, if that makes any sense. Yeah. Where it's like there's gonna be times when I just want to watch the fucking derpy ass like reel on YouTube, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna do it. Whereas when I'm in high energy, I don't fucking watch the reels, bro. But when I'm derping, I'm in like 200, I'm like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like fucking puppy reels. You know? Watching that shit. Just fucking, and then fucking hours go by, and I'm like, God damn it, I was supposed to go to bed. Just bullshitting, bro. Just stupid shit. So for me, I feel like it's like I've been like really vibrant emotionally, and I feel like most of that was I don't know most of it, because I'm lucky enough to like live in the conditions I lived in, where I wasn't like homeless. But as far as my consciousness was concerned, that could be attributed to my own effort. So I'm hard on myself for not being back there, but I will.
You will.
I will be back there.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah, as long as you see that end, and it'll happen. And even if it doesn't, you can always, you learn more information, and then you go with the best information you know at that time, and then you run it back.
It's worth it. If it takes
yeah.
fucking like 6 years, bro,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
30,
Yeah.
like feeling that good is worth it.
Exactly.
So if it takes that
yeah.
long,
Yeah, never give up. Just keep
Mhm.
going. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Man.
I don't know if there's anything I'm being like unreasonably hard on myself about. I just feel like I'm just always hard on myself.
Yeah.
So like about all the backsliding, about I think a lot more about what is that Dostoevsky quote where it's like man counts his sadness way more than his happiness, something like that.
Yeah.
So like I don't know if I have like something that I'm doing that I'm like unreasonably upset with myself about, where I'm like, oh, like you didn't know better or something like that. But just like a lot of times where I did know better, and I'm just like can't help but just beat myself over the head about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like there's mainly just that. I think a lot of like the Julian thing on guilt, where he talks about how like guilt shouldn't be something you use to like beat over your head, but something that should like bring you back to integrity.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of like me.
Yeah. No, something I felt with the backsliding, like, so you don't, because interesting with our backsliding, if we go through that, because we do kind of have the information, and then we still backslide. But here's my thing, though. Well, at least for me,
Mm-hmm.
At the time of backsliding, I didn't have my whole self yet. So I you know what I mean? So it's not fair to it's unreasonable to get mad at myself for backsliding when I wasn't at a good place. You know what I mean?
That's
so
fair.
I fell into that backsliding, but there was still information I didn't have about like self-love and stuff, and like forgiving myself, like, you know what I mean? So I did know the information of like, okay, I know
this
God
is
doesn't,
morally wrong or this is bad. But it's like you didn't have the I don't want to say you didn't have the effective tools to stop it, but you just didn't actualize them or like know how to actualize them. Like that.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
because there was something,
Okay,
there was something to
I'll feel
myself
that, yeah.
missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I wasn't
Definitely.
I wasn't using the Christ-like love to myself, right? So since I wasn't using the Christ-like to myself, there was something foundationally like wrong with like myself, like image of myself, just how I viewed
perception.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, perception, and that. So backsliding in that state, I can't get mad at myself for that. You know, I can't get unreasonably. I can't be unreasonably hard on myself for that because I wasn't in that state of showing Christ-like love to myself.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
I don't know if you see that.
No, I would agree.
Yeah.
I think that's like the best way to put it. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Next
Okay, I'm
one.
gonna keep this as vague as possible. 'Cause I don't think she's gonna see this, but so no.
He's talking about.
Oh wait, that is actually a person. Fucking.
He's talking about his 99-year-old girlfriend or whatever.
Jane, call her Jane.
Oh, yeah, okay. Hey, the name's not important.
Mary
I guess
Jane,
it's just the idea behind it. So,
Stupid bitch. You know?
no. I made a pretty big mistake at the end of my last relationship. And I guess I keep looping on that, but it's not, I mean, it's productive because I'm like, okay, that can't ever happen again. But at the same time, it's unproductive because it's over. Like, I can't go back and, like, redo everything. So I'm just trying to, like, figure out, like, I guess, like, how to forgive myself for it, but also, like, move on from it and not, like, loop on it. Because I did make a pretty big mistake, and, like, she doesn't even know. Because, like, in my head, the relationship was, like, already over, so that's how I, like, rationalize things. But that's a problem. So that's another reason I'm staying single, but, like, looping on it to the degree I wasn't helpful.
Yeah.
So...
Kept you accountable though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, looping is so interesting. Yeah, I saw like a therapist like break it down because I've always wondered like why do we loop as human? It doesn't seem good. Like why is that? And our brain is always trying to like protect us, but it actually is like a survival protection because so you had this feeling of like a breakup or like a bad relationship, and this is like a terrible feeling. Mm-hmm. So your brain loops on every little situation because it doesn't want you to go through that bad feeling again. Yeah, so it loops through situations and it's trying to work out what was the best thing to do in that. Like if you're looping on something like, oh, I should have said this, I should have did this. Your brain's like, okay, do this next time, so you don't experience this terrible losing like the tribe. Like, because if our brain loses like the tribe moment, that's like devastating. Our brain will try to protect us because that it's like our survival. Like we think we're gonna die. Our brain thinks we're gonna die. Yeah. Like if we lose a partner or if we're like outside the tribe in like our societal construct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's super interesting, the looping. That's just like why it happens. But yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah.
So yeah, like in some cases, I feel like looping can be productive. Like just I guess like how much you allow yourself to do it. I feel like because it can become to a point where it's detrimental, and you're like, I'm gonna say the word neurotic. Yeah, you can get really neurotic.
So are you mad? Are you hard on yourself because you are looping so much? You're like, why did I do that? Or like, is it just because of the mistakes you made in the relationship, or both? Yeah.
Both. Okay. Yeah, I'm like, why did I do that? I'm like, what led me to the point where I thought that was okay? What like made me like? Because I like didn't even think about it for the longest time. So I'm like, why did I like not even think about like this really bad thing that I did? And I'm like, how was I able to just like compartmentalize that into a part of my brain and not think about it? And I'm like, does that make me a bad person for not even thinking about it right after?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you just didn't know. Yeah, you just didn't know at the time.
But I mean, like, I truly feel like everything happens for a reason, and like, I don't think I'm gonna do something like that ever again in a relationship. So I mean, I'm trying to like really use that relationship as like a learning experience for like my next ones. This is kind of off topic, but like even compatibility wise, like I don't want to date for just like sameness. Like I want to make sure I'm truly like compatible. I guess that's a whole different thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I like that y'all loop, bro, because otherwise y'all would avoid your thoughts, bro.
Yeah.
So specifically for y'all, I really like it, man.
I know, but I get why it's necessary. I get it.
The INFP loop, I feel like, can be helpful. Like, I know we've talked about this, like the INFP loop versus like an ISFJ loop. It's like the ISFJ is like, what the fuck thing do I need to get done? What do I need to check off my list? And like, I feel like INFPs at least loop on things that could be productive. Things. Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Bastard, fucking clown, fucking fucker. Oh yeah, bro. So like, consciousness is a burden, and like, I don't think you will do what you did again. But I would say like most people who make like a serious like moral error don't tend to think about it. They tend to just like, it just goes in the back of their mind. Mm-hmm. People rationalize white lies every day.
That's true.
With everybody, like it's like in fucking establishments, like white lies are like, you had a good day. Like it's like, what would you say? There's such a thing as tacit approval. This is like tacit harmony. This is tacit authenticity. Yeah. People do white lies. People lie about shit all the time, and there's like tons of things that people wouldn't own up to. So I think like just the fact that you're actually accepting the burden to think about that is a good thing. I think most men in their early 20s succumb to the demons of temptation, so to speak.
Yeah.
And like actually thinking about that and not just being like, fuck it, I was young, you know?
Yeah.
Like you were young, sure, but it's you who
did it. You knew what you're doing was wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was cool. I mean, like, bro, NoFap, to get weird for a little bit, is like a version of that. Because we've all done NoFap. Like, what's your NoFap, Shane? What's your NoFap streak right now?
Weren't we supposed to all go down the line and ask questions right now?
Well, that's my question.
Your question's my NoFap streak?
Yeah.
Don't lie.
0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
Okay. A few hours.
So the thing about NoFap is
like, if I'm honest.
We've all done NoFap, and when you do it, it's like, it's this beginning like, why would I even want to do that? There's so much more meaning than lust. Like, why would I even nut? Why would I do it? And then it's just one fucking moment where it feels overwhelming that you break the streak and you succumb to it. That's like a fucking, like, you can aggregate morality in the same way. That's all it is. Like, you have this clarity of the type of person you want to be, and then there's this fucking temptation, and it's just overwhelming, and then you, like, kind of allow your consciousness to go away.
Yeah.
And when you break NoFap, you get into this mode, like, I'm doing it,
Yeah.
and then you just go do it.
Yeah.
And that's how it is when you, like fucking, like, when you do, like, moral dumb shit.
Yeah.
You're just like, whatever, I'm doing it. Like, when
Yeah.
you go out and you, like, drink or some shit and you don't want to, you, like, it's always like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to the bar.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this. You know what? I'm doing it. Fuck it, I'm gonna do this. It's like your consciousness battles you to be like this upright, integral person, and then you just get to this moment where you're like, you know what, consciousness? Yeah, I'm just gonna go do what I want.
Yeah.
So, like, everybody deals with that shit, bro. I say that to say, like, I think morality is important. I think ethics are important. Specifically think introspecting about them individually are important. But finger wavy, like, moral people, bruh, no, don't sit with me, bruh.
Yeah.
It don't sit with me well. So, yeah, cool. My question for everyone, simple. Where do y'all want to be at the end of 2025?
Took this out. I have thought about it. It's so hard to articulate, but I have, like, thought about
Mine
it.
is just one word.
Mm-hmm.
Confident.
Interesting.
I like feel like I have no confidence in myself, and I feel like I think I thought about it today. The only thing that I used to have confidence in was, like, my ability to rap, and now I feel like because I'm not, like, a barred up rapper or trying to do that style or care about that anymore. Like, if I try and sit and freestyle, like, with my other homies that do that, like, I can't keep up anymore. And so it's like the one thing that I think I had confidence in that ended up spreading to everything else has now just, like, gone. So I'm like, I just want to be confident.
Yeah, I just want to be whole. Yeah, just be just that good supply for everyone. Just, like, good energy. Yeah, like when Rowan's in the room, just like positive, just like whole person. You can just, like, feel the energy, just like good radiance. Just like bringing up the atmosphere. Yeah, so, like, just whole. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I want to experience something similar to that. I just want to, like, open up my feeling completely. Because now that I've focused on it, I can sense when I'm not allowing myself, not completely, but I have, like, a vague sense of when I'm not allowing myself to experiences.
Yeah.
So I want to, like, feel my emotions all the way through, open up my root chakra type of shit.
Okay, gotcha.
And just, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like when you go to, like, work, something I focused on at City Q.
Yeah.
Keep representing it because me and him worked there for, like, a year. Like, something I experienced is, like, I started getting into this, like, just go through it autopilot mode because I didn't fuck with City Q.
Yeah.
And then I was noticing myself, like, kind of get, like, level 200 about it. And I was like, how can I just feel, like, how can I just be at City Q?
Yeah.
How can I luster up the presence to be at City Q and feel like I'm actually, like, feeling these experiences? Some of that has to do with self-images that I still have to shed. I think that's part of the reason that people, like, don't feel things. But, like, I want to be on that. And then above that, I want to be back, like, as conscientious as I was, like, on my habits the way I was. I think what you were describing earlier was, like, you were focusing on this outer work, and it got you really neurotic.
Yeah.
And then it got you neurotic to a point where you realized you have to combine that with inner work.
Yeah.
And now that you've done some inner work shit, you're kind of, like, hesitant to get back into outer work.
Yeah.
You don't want the outer work to corrupt you again.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm worried about getting back into the gym right now because I don't want to become neurotic again. Jiu-jitsu's fine. I'm not neurotic about jiu-jitsu. That's, like, really fun. But the gym and, like, weightlifting, I don't know. It's if I can do it.
So easy to be neurotic.
So,
at the gym.
yeah, I don't know how.
All
to
the
handle it.
bitches after this.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think if I should just play if this is just the muscle I'm gonna have and that's it. Yeah, or do, like, push-ups and stuff and not like flex in a mirror and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. Get into, like, running. So yeah.
People date so fucking derpy that, like, it's like people just trying to date. Like, if your goal was just to date someone,
That
you
is
don't gotta be
true.
the biggest fucker at the gym to do
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess I just don't really need. I was kind of compensating too, just like gym. Like, I was just trying to become, like, as attractive as possible, kind of thing. Like, a part of it. I did, like, the science and stuff of it, but I did just want to be more attractive. But now I'm kind of like I like myself more. Like, I love myself more, so I'm kind of like, well, I don't really need to do that. Like, I'm content now with my looks, and I don't need to. I don't need to do it. Yeah, so it's kind of hard to get back into it. Yeah,
Right.
it's like, yeah, but Yes, sir.
I feel that I've had a lot of hesitance getting into the gym because I don't want to get back into
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
I got super neurotic about it.
Dude, that is so not the narrative right now. It's so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, still.
Bro, you gotta be in the gym.
If you want these girls, bro, you gotta get the
You're a grown man not in the gym. You probably can't even pick her up, you little kid.
Yeah. Such opposite. Yeah.
Max.
What was the original question?
It was like, where do you want to be at the end of 2025?
Yeah.
Tell the truth.
This goes back to what we were just talking about. I want to be more disciplined, like diet, money, just like everything. Because I feel like I'm a lot more disciplined than I was, but like even just more consistency with like recording music, making sure I have like I'm structured in it and like I have a goal and that I check off everything. Because I feel it's easy to just say, oh, I'm gonna record a lot of stuff, and if I don't put a number to it, I feel like it's easier for me to like slip up on it because it's just an idea. So if I structure it out and detail it, I hold myself accountable a little more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, discipline. That's where I want to be.
Consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency.
Yes.
Shane Vega.
My question?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. My question for you guys is, I had two. I'm trying to think which one I want to pick. I'll pick this one. How do you guys? This is interesting. How do you keep your ego in check?
I don't.
Yeah.
You're just that guy.
I don't.
I gotta think about that. I don't know. I don't have like a direct answer.
What's even like what context of your ego? Like
I guess
like in a like you're the I don't want to curse, but like
You're the
like,
shit type of
yeah, you're the you're
I
that.
guess more like that, but then I guess like in many ways, I guess so I guess I'll make reference to the other question and then maybe that helps. My other question was, how do you access pure curiosity rather than curiosity just related to yourself? I feel like I'm super scared of being a narcissist, and then I'm constantly just like curious about how other people would do things that like I've done, and then I feel like it's disingenuous because it's like I would never just be curious about a person, like just like if a person did something that I would never do, I'd just be like, I wonder why they did that. Out of curiosity, it would always be related back to me, and I feel like that stems from my ego to some degree.
Okay.
And so I'm like, and even in minor ways like that, whether it be this big grandiose of like you're in the gym and you're like, I'm him, or whether it be like constantly reflecting back on yourself in a way rather than others. How do you keep that in check? Like what do you do when you're in those situations, or would you just, is it just second nature at this point?
Like, what a way to phrase it, like, how do you avoid being, like, self-obsessed?
I guess, yeah. That's the better, yeah.
I actively practice thinking beyond myself. Like, try to feel the experience of what another person is experiencing. Or, I mean, like, when you guys talk, obviously I have, like, I'll go into my inner dialogue, but I'm trying to, like, really focus and, like, imagine where you're coming from. Not just with your words and, like, how they reflect on me, but, like, why you speak the way you do. Mm-hmm. So I practice thinking beyond myself. I just also ask myself, like, why would that person do X thing? And it's very tempting to do it on the basis of comparison. Mm-hmm. Like, why would that dumbass do that? They're not like me. Like, I would do it this way. But I think for me, it's, like, active practice your curiosity and thinking beyond yourself. And I think like a pragmatic one, and it's going to be hard because like you have to force yourself to do it initially, is like pay attention when the conversation is not about you. Is one that I try to practice.
Good. I second that.
Yeah, I was gonna say just like specific exercises. Like sometimes, like I'm trying to think. Sometimes I walk in, not quite in that context, but just walking to work and be like, okay, I'm going to try to be in like level 500 today. Like think about the people around me and like what they're going through and just try to have like this like unconditional love for them. Just like love them as like a human. So yeah, you just have to like instill it in your mind. Pray for, just be like, Christ, same love you show me, help me express that, come into my temple. Let your love go through me, help me express it to others. So yeah, just actively thinking about it, and I think you'll subconsciously build the habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you work on, or like if you ever do have the thought, like if you do find yourself, like if people are talking and it's not about you and you're like going back to you, like you could try to catch that thought and then be like, okay, I'm gonna get away from this, like get away from that and that, if that's something you want to work on. Yeah, and then if you do that enough, you kind of build that subconscious habit. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
You try to catch the thoughts. Yeah.
Try to catch thoughts.
Yeah. How do you stop being self-obsessed? You fucking bastard.
Yeah. Impossible mode. Max impossible mode. Yeah.
This is gonna be hard because I'm gonna do the exact thing that I'm talking about that INFPs do, but I'm talking about in the context of trying to break away from it. Is like when somebody says something, you relate it to a time you felt like that, where I feel there just should be a more genuine just curiosity and just asking about like that thing. So like, for instance, like when I'm talking to my manager, instead of like, I'll have the thought of like, oh, like relate it back to me, and they'll be like, no, I gotta change that line of thinking and just be more like curious. And then that's kind of solved it. So like the self-awareness of just seeing it, the thought happen, and then Curry and just being like, no, like let's be more curious, like just genuinely curious. That's helped.
Okay. Yeah.
Some levels of energy dialogue going on.
I don't know about all that, but shit.
You'd say that shit. So yeah.
There you go.
All right, cool.
Your turn, Max.
Max.
I had two questions, but like one already kind of, I guess, fell in line with what you asked. I was just gonna be like, what is everybody's like 5-year goal? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Married with kids.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
I hope.
Oh,
I mean, that's what's up. Yeah, no.
Oh.
I feel like having
Getting
a
a girl
family is like
pregnant and Shane raising the kids.
hey, yo, you know. The other thing I was gonna ask is like, I guess, what quality are you like most content with yourself? Like most proud of yourself?
Yeah.
I think sticking true to my own vision. I'm the most proud of that. Also, this is very ENTP. I'm like very proud of like having people like try to stray me to be. This is Kanye be doing this too. The people be telling me like, bro, you can't like. You should be worried about that. Or when people are just like, you know, he's far gone. Like he's not gonna the proving the people wrong shit. I like that. I just like I like being unmoved by the crowd and like my commitment to being an individual.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, you should be proud of that. That's very impressive. That's probably the most impressive thing I see in you is just like you'll be like 100 people against you and you'll still stand your ground. Like
Gregorio student. Yeah.
No, you're really good at that. At just like standing on your opinion and no matter what, that's just like what you go with. Yeah. And not like an irrational sense, just like what
it could be it's like a good and a bad thing, of course, but I'm like really I'm proud of the courageous moments.
Yeah, for sure, and you should be. Yeah.
I like. What was the question again? Say, because I want to make sure I'm answering it right.
What quality are you content with in yourself?
Yeah. Okay. So, I like feeling. There's a lot I think of net negatives about it, and of course, like I'm constantly in a state of like neurosis right now and stuff like that. But like, I remember when I was talking to one of my buddies about possibly getting on medication, and he started talking about how it regulated him. But one of the ways it regulated him was he kind of like was talking about how like dopamine levels or whatever like had normalized and went down, and he said sometimes at the beginning he felt like a zombie, and that scared the crap out of me because I really love, even when it's intense, even when it's painful, even when it makes me like cry. Like we were listening to that one song, the last one, the record earlier, and I like was like fighting back tears, and I thought it was really that beautiful. Like I love it. It's probably like I feel like it's the biggest way I feel like I know who Shane is. I know me because I know how I feel. It's great. It's I don't know, bro. I never would want to lose that. I don't know if it's a quality or content about me, but I just I like feeling.
No, I think that's valid because I think there's a lot of thinkers that would want to have like be more in tune with feeling. So I think it's definitely a really valuable thing.
Yeah. I feel like I know a lot of thinkers who, when I talk to them about like feeling things. Well, yeah, like John's a good example. Well, I don't think John strives to.
Fuck you, John.
No, we love you, John. strives to be like us or be like me in a feely way, but I just like I love how fascinated I guess he is by it to some degree too, and I think that's because like there is just something great about it, like just feeling there's something great about it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I guess maybe what am I most content with? Definitely my creativity. I'm very like grateful for that. Yeah, I don't think, I don't think I need to like work on my creativity, like getting more and more creative or whatever. Like I love where it's at. Yeah, I love my music. I love like things I make. I always try to get back to like a childlike state. That'd be dope to keep just like no ego with the art, just like just making art, like trying to get back. But I am like super content with my creativity. And just like the art I make. I'm really content with like, I guess it's like humbleness and like submission, like the fact that I'm just be able to like have faith in God and like I can do that. I'm very glad that just like comes easy to me because that's really hard for a lot of people. Yeah, I'm glad I can just like have faith, be humble, and just like learn a lot of stuff. Like any of my coaches, I like jiu-jitsu or something, and I'm just there and I'm listening. I'm not like because a lot of people I see, there's like new people coming to the gym and like the coach will tell them something and be like, I don't know if you should do it like that. They're new. They don't know anything. I'm like, what are you talking about? But they're so not willing to be the student. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm content that I'm down to be the student. I'm down to look at someone, even if someone isn't like the Kanye, like I don't take advice from people less successful than me. I'm down to still take advice from someone, no matter who it is. Like I'm still down to be like, oh, I hear you, not be like, oh, I don't know, man, I don't know, coach, like you shouldn't do it like I think, what about this? Like, what if you do it like this? Like, no, you're the teacher, teach me. Like I'm down to learn. I'm gonna humble myself to do that. So I guess like humbleness, and then it's kind of flip. I used to be more. It's a conflict, but I am content with it. But my introversion, it's tough though. I love that I can just like entertain myself and stuff, and like just be introverted and stuff. But at the same time, like it gets lonely. Like it's like I wish. There's also times where I wish I had a natural draw to go, I guess, like, be with people. Like, it would be dope. There are benefits of that. But at the same time, it keeps me out of a lot of trouble, and it keeps me out of a lot of stuff. Yeah. So, it's, like, one of those things, like, I know the other side of how bad. So, but overall, if I had to pick one, I would pick what I have. Like, so I'm grateful for my introversion and my introspection, that I can just sit with myself, be by myself, be content with that. I don't need to go out, or I don't need supply of like other people. I don't need to be friend oriented. There's definitely a lot of benefits to that. So I can say I'm content with that. Yeah.
Pragmatically, and Shane, you'll back me up on this.
I will.
Introversion saves money.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. I don't know.
100%.
Tell you, I don't blow way too much.
No, that's what. Not as many temptations. No, I was about to say that saves a lot of money.
Yeah, saves a lot of money.
A lot of trouble. Yeah.
When people go to the bar, I can only imagine. Yeah. But I feel like it's like, first, I'm gonna go have a couple drinks, but then you're so much more suggestible. Like, bitch, and you're like, hell yeah,
let's get on a shot.
Yeah, I'm super grateful I have that, because I feel like sometimes I feel for you, Shane. Like I'm like, dang, dude, this dude he has such a draw.
Y'all have no idea. When what's her name was here earlier saying like, oh, we're going out, I genuinely was fighting myself.
Yeah. Like I wonder, like, I literally
there's a function. Where we going? Listen.
Yeah, I literally can't imagine that. I wonder what that's like. Like I wish I could just have that for one day.
You don't want
it. I know. No, I don't think I want it. But I just wonder what that is. I just can't imagine being so drawn outside of yourself to other to go be with like people in like those types of situations. Yeah. Just be that extroverted. It's truly insanity.
It has. It's. I will say it does have a benefit in the sense of like community becomes so much more easy to engage with and be a part of, and it's helped me like learn to like love people. But dude, like I lose all sense of self-control, morality. All of it just gets tossed out the window because I'm just like, party, people.
Yeah, if it was like a healthy way, in like a good context, it would really like your like any epidemic of like loneliness would be like wiped out. Yeah, if you had like good people and you were able, if you were so drawn to like interact and like be drawn outward, like that'd be dope.
If I'll tell you what, I think if I had a full sense of self and full sense of love for myself, like I wouldn't have a problem.
Exactly.
It's just the fact that I don't. I'm just
and that's a lot of people. And there's a lot of introverted people where it's too unhealthy. Like they don't have a whole self, and that's just kind of a lot of like self-isolation in like a bad way. Yeah. So benefits both, but I'm content with what I have. I'm glad at that.
Good.
Yeah.
All
right. So before we end it, I just want to put out a challenge. It's been a while since we had a Zulu episode. We came through. Creek. I want you to do a whole 2-hour podcast by yourself. Camera on, just fucking yapping. Just yapping about whatever.
2 hours straight.
Okay, and then I'm gonna show y'all my penis since that's the end of it. Whip it out.
Oh, that's hilarious.
All right, wrap. See y'all Sunday.